In life, trust is a precious gift, but what happens when it is placed in the wrong hands? Okenna was a man who had it all: wealth, love, a beautiful family, and a best friend he trusted with his life. But hidden behind smiles was a betrayal so deep it would tear a home apart. This is not just a story, it is a powerful reminder that even in the closet bonds, secrets can destroy, and truth has a way of rising. Stay with me till the end because the truth will shock you and it will change the way you see trust, love, and loyalty forever. This is Olu Beauty African Folktales channel. Please subscribe if you have not. Like, comment, and share with your family and friends. And don't forget to touch the bell button so that you'll be notified each time we put out new video. Oh yeah, grab your popcorn, sit jeje, and enjoy yourself. Okenna, fondly called Oke, was the envy of many. Tall, handsome, intelligent, and successful, he worked with one of the biggest oil companies in Nigeria. His job took him onshore and offshore, and although he was often away for weeks or months, he ensured that his family lacked nothing. His wife, Azoka, was the definition of grace and beauty. Oke had loved her from their university days, and their love only blossomed with time. He worshipped the ground she walked on, and when he got his first big paycheck, he opened a luxurious boutique in Enugu for her. It was named Zuka's Place, a reflection of her style and elegance. Their union was blessed with four beautiful children. Chukwubikem, the first son, strong-willed, intelligent, and deeply respectful. Chiagoziem, the calm and thoughtful second son. Chinonso, playful, full of energy, and attached to his mother. Ogochukwu, Ogo, the adorable last-born and only daughter, Oke's Joel. Oke's life was complete, or so he thought. Oke had a best friend named Stephen, known as Steve. They had grown up in the same neighborhood in Nsukka, survived the harsh days together, and vowed never to allow money or women come between them. They were more like brothers. Oke introduced him to Azoka the very first day, and when Oke married Azoka, Steve was his best man. Oke trusted him so much that he would say, "If I die today, I know Steve will take care of my family like his own." Whenever Oke traveled for work, he entrusted Steve with important family tasks, helping Azoka manage the boutiques, handling emergencies, running errands for Azoka whenever she was overwhelmed, and even sleeping over sometimes when Oke's trips were extended. Azoka was initially uncomfortable, but Oke would reassure her and said, "Steve is my brother, not just a friend. There's nothing to fear, okay?" As time passed, Azoka and Steve grew closer. What started as harmless conversations about boutique inventory, customer issues, or the other turned to late night talks, shared laughter, and lingering eye contact. One evening, Steve arrived unannounced to deliver money Uke sent for the boutique. Azoka was dressed in a wrapper, her hair undone, having just bathed. He watched her with new eyes. That night, something shifted. They both felt it, but said nothing. Days turned to weeks. Temptation brewed. Azuka, feeling lonely in Oke's long absences, found comfort in Steve's presence. He was always there, fixing things, advising her, and complimenting her beauty. One stormy night, while Oke was offshore and Steve was helping Azoka during a thunderstorm, they found themselves alone in the living room. One thing led to another, and that was the beginning of their secret affair. The affair continued for years, hidden behind Uke's trust and innocence. Azuka tried to stop it several times. She would kneel and cry after each encounter, but Steve was persistent. I love you, Azuka. Uke will never find out. You deserve to be happy, he would whisper. Worse still, children were born during this time. Uke rejoiced at each child's birth, never suspecting foul play. But Azuka lived in constant guilt. Sometimes she would stare at her children and wonder whose blood truly runs in their veins. Years passed. Chukwubikem grew into a teenager and began to resemble Steve in startling ways. His eyes, voice, and mannerisms. Uke's mother, Mami Ifoma, visited one day and noticed and said, Azuka, are you sure everything is well? That boy, he doesn't resemble my son, okay, at all. Azuka laughed it off nervously, but the seed of suspicion had been planted. One day also, Oke's colleague hinted at something strange and he said, Steve is always in your house, bro. Are you not worried? Oke laughed it off, but doubt began to grow. When Oke returned from offshore job, he noticed Steve leaving his house too early in the morning. As days, weeks, and months went by, one fateful day, Steve was involved in a car accident and hospitalized. Oke just came back from a long offshore trip, rushed to the hospital. There, in Steve's semi-conscious state, he heard him mutter Azoka's name repeatedly. Confused, Oke asked the nurse and said, Why is he calling my wife's name? The nurse replied carelessly and said, he must love her so much. Every time he comes in for checkups, he always talks about her and your children. I thought he was their father. Oke's heart skipped a beat. As Oke returned from the hospital, he couldn't sleep. He replayed everything: Steve's constant presence, the children's subtle differences, Azoka's occasional strange behavior. Remember, Okenna, Oke for short, live in abundance, but behind the golden walls of his mansion lay a dark secret waiting to explode. He often said, My family is my crown. I work hard offshore, so my queen and my kids will lack nothing. He called Azoka his wife, my queen, and he loved Steve, his childhood friend, like a brother. What he didn't know was that the people he loved the most were betraying him the deepest. After the nurse's careless comment at the hospital, Oke became paranoid. He stared at his children. Chukwu became Chiagozim, Chinonso, and Ogo, and he said, Why does Chukwu become work like Steve? Why does Chiagozim have his voice? God, what is going on? He sent hair samples from himself and all four children to a discreet lab in Lagos. He told no one, not even his mother. Weeks later, the results arrived. Hands trembling, he tore open the envelope. It read, Paternity confirmed for Ogochukwu. Paternity excluded for Chukwubikem, Chiagoziem, and Chinonso. Oke's world collapsed. He screamed. He smashed things. He fell to the ground, sobbing. His first three sons were not his. After everything, Oke waited patiently. He pretended everything was fine, while Azoka carried on like nothing was wrong. That weekend, he invited Steve for dinner, just like old times. Azoka cooked his favorite, ofaku with goat meat. At the dinner table, Oke played videos of the children growing up, smiling bitterly. Then he stood up and locked the door and said, Steve, Azoka, I have something to ask you. Which of you will confess first? Steve froze, spoon mid-air. Azoka's hand trembled. Confess what? Steve asked. Okay laughed coldly and said, You know, the DNA test I did says three of my children are not mine. Only Ogo is mine. Should I call their real father now, or do you want to speak? As he finished speaking, everywhere was silence. Then Azuka burst into tears and said, Okay, okay, please. I didn't mean for it to happen. It started once, then twice. I was lonely. I thought you would never find out. Oh, okay, turned to Steve, rage boiling, and said, You, my friend, my brother, you slept with my wife and fathered my sons? Steve fell to his knees, weeping, and said, Okay, I am sorry. I loved her. I've always loved her. I didn't plan it for it to happen like this. Oke didn't just stop at confrontation. He called a family meeting. Both families gathered. Azoka's parents, Steve's relatives, Oke's mother, neighbors. The tension was suffocating. Oke stood with the DNA results in hand and said, Behold, the betrayal of a friend and a wife. For years, I raised children that were not mine. Steve here is their father. Gasps filled the air. Azuka collapsed. Oke's mother fainted. People screamed and was throwing curses to them. Steve's father slapped him in front of everyone and said, You are a disgrace. You betrayed your brother. To Fiakwa. Days later, after the family meeting, Steve disappeared. News came that he was involved in another accident, worse than the first. This time, it was fatal. Oke was numb. He didn't shed a tear. Instead, he whispered and said, God has judged him. Azoka tried to beg, but Oke served her divorce papers and said, You can keep your children. I will raise Ogo alone. I will never trust you again. After everything, Azoka's boutique closed down. Customers stopped coming. She was shamed in the community, rejected even by her family. Oke relocated to Abuja with Ogo, leaving the past behind. He started again, broken but wiser. 1 year later, Oke received a letter from Steve's lawyer. In it was a confession. Steve had lied. He wrote and said, Okay, I was not the father of all three boys. Only one child is mine, Chinonso. Azoka was with another man before your marriage. Chukwubikem is not yours or mine. Chiagoziem, we don't know who fathered him. Forgive me, please. I know I have betrayed you, but please forgive me. Oke dropped the letter, stunned, and he said, So I don't even know who fathered two of my sons? I didn't know I was married to a harlot. The letter from Steve was like a second earthquake in Oke's life. And he said, Only Tinonso is Steve's son, but who fathered Chukwubikem and Chiagoziem? Oke muttered, person. He couldn't sleep. He stared at the pictures of his children, questioning every memory. Despite everything, he loved those boys, but trust was dead. Because of that, Oke summoned Azoka one last time. She arrived looking shattered, pale, aged by guilt. Oke handed her the letter and said, Who is the father of Chukwubikem and Chiagoziem? Azoka sobbed uncontrollably and said, Okay, before I married you, I was in a secret relationship with a man named Desmond. I thought I was pregnant for you after our wedding. But now I'm not sure. I didn't want to lose everything. I lied to myself. Oke's hands shook and he said, So I was never truly their father, was I? Azuka fell on her knees, begging and crying, and said, Please don't take my children from me. Punish me, not them, please. Oke looked at her for a long time, then said coldly, You punish me the day you let another man plant his seed in my home. After everything, Okay secretly ordered another DNA test, this time including Desmond, whom he tracked down after weeks of searching. When the result was out, it shows that Chukwubikem was Desmond's son. Chiagoziem, not Oke's, not Steve's, not Desmond's, another unknown man. Oke was devastated beyond words. So finally, Oke called Azoka and the children. He sat them down, holding Ogo's hand tightly, and said, "Children, I love you all. But today I must speak the truth." He told them everything. Tears flowed. Chukwubikem cried and said, "So you are not my real dad. Please, daddy, don't leave me." Oke hugged him tight and said, "I may not be your biological father, but I raised you. I loved you. But now I must walk away for my sanity." Oke gave full custody of the boys to Azoka and walked away with Ogo, his only biological child. He left town, sold the house, and disappeared to a quiet life where peace replaced chaos. Azoka was left alone, abandoned by friends, mocked by the community, and burdened with her betrayal. 2 years later, a letter arrived at Azoka's doorsteps from Uke, and he said, "I have found peace. I have forgiven you, but I can never forget. I hope you find healing. Our children deserve better. Raise them well. Teach them the truth. As for me and Ogo, we will start anew." Azuka wept for hours after reading the letters, and she said, "I lost the best man because of lust and lies." So after everything, Oke became a speaker, sharing his story to warn others about trust, betrayal, and healing. Ogo grew up with love, strength, and truth. Azoka became a shadow of her former self, trying to raise three boys alone, forever haunted by the past. The true father of Chiagoziem was never found. That mystery remains, the wound that never truly healed. This is where our story ends. Thank you for watching. But before we conclude it, let's look into our moral lessons. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Wisdom is in designing intentions. A strong foundation of trust can be broken by secrets. Guard your home with prayer and caution. Betrayal hurts, but truth is power. When the truth comes out, healing begins. Forgiveness is hard, but it frees the soul from bitterness and revenge. Please, again, guard your home. Trust wisely. Betrayal is a seed that grows into destruction. Truth always comes to light. In conclusion, Okenna was faced with a truth no man ever prays to hear. His world was shattered, but from the ashes of betrayal came wisdom and strength. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones we should watch the most. Let this story remind us, be careful of who you trust with your heart, your home, and your legacy. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real life African stories filled with lessons, drama, and hope. Drop a comment below. What would you do if you were in Okenna's shoe? Until next time, keep your eyes open and your heart guarded. Please don't forget to touch the bell button so that you will be notified each time we put out new video. And please don't forget to leave your comment in the comment section, your question, your suggestions, or even new stories that you want us to share. And we will come back to deal with it. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Bye bye. Love you. Mwah.